What's going on, fam? We are back today, and today we're going to be talking about pros and cons on turboing your car. But I turboed this my own car, which is a 94 Mazda MIATA. So we're going to be talking about the pros and the cons that I've experienced throughout these past like 2 months. So one of the problems I've had as a con, yeah. So one of the problems I've had is the car runs a little bit warmer. Runs warmer because, you know, you're running forced induction into your motor. So this motor was not meant to be turboed. It doesn't have a cooling system like if it was meant to be turboed. So that's one of the things. One of the things to fix that is cool down your motor. Make sure you don't use bolts to hold down your downpipe. I suggest you guys to use studs and nuts, because I used bolts and I ended up finding out that they loosen up through the vibration while the car's driving. Another one is you have to be checking your intercooler piping, because yet again, this is a fresh intercooler piping that you're adding. Fresh couplers, stuff tends to get loosed and stretched out. So that's another thing you have to focus on. Another thing is you always have to keep eye on your what do they call it, the air to fuel ratio. You know, try to stay between 11 and 14.7. those are that's like the safe spots. Anything higher than that, then you're running lean and you're putting a little warning sign on your motor, so you don't want that wear and tear. Make sure all your lines are tight, because your motor runs with oil, you know, and water to be cooled. And number two is, depending on what type of turbo you have, you'll run a water cooling system and you'll run, you know, oil running through your turbo. So if one of those two things are leaking and you run low on those, that's a bunch of wear and tear on your motor, possibly, you know, throw a rod out or cause your motor to seize up. That's like all the cons that I've had in these past 2 months that I've had this turboed car, or that I turboed myself. Now to the pros. The pros is you turbo your car, you go way faster. You know, you hear the psst, you're flying. That's one of the pros. Another pro is, you know, you get to keep up with traffic. You don't have to deal with, you know, being slow anymore, or going out with your, you know, friends and they're driving their cars and you're not catching up. So that's one of the good things that, you know, that you get. Another pro is, you know, you get to learn a little bit about your car, the way it runs, you know, especially if you turbo your car yourself. You know, your tuner will provide you with a bunch of information on your motor, how's it run, what's your motor want, what it doesn't like. You know, that's another gain. Also, depending who you are, you could run a lot of people tune their cars themselves before they take it to their tuner. You kind of get to know your graph table on your fuels, your sparks, and that's another good thing. That's pretty much for the pros that I've had. Another thing is that I've noticed is you have to learn your car a little bit better. I did go a little bit of, you know, I went like street drifting, you know, went to hit some corners. There's a big difference between a turboed car and a non-turboed car. So that's another thing. You have to learn your car all over again, because you don't have constant power to the pedal anymore, you know. You have to gain boost. And that's pretty much it, what I've had with my car, and that's been in 2 months. So far I haven't had anything to fix besides this gasket, which is a better gasket than the last one. The last one that I had was a cheap one that came with the, you know, with the little downpipe that I got. It was like all flimsy. Literally, if I could, you know, if I did this, it would bend. This one, it's kind of hard to tell. Let me see if I get it to concentrate. So this one, yeah, I can't get it to concentrate, but this is a 5-layered one. It's an OEM one for a Subaru. I'm hoping it does fit. I didn't buy any of the other T25 ones that I found online due to that they weren't, you know, they didn't provide information that they were layered. And I heard about a layered gasket. This one's a 5-layer, hoping it fixes my problem and, you know, I don't get a bad one again. So at the same time, it was kind of my fault due to that. I put bolts on it, and that's not a good idea because it ended up, you know, falling off due to vibration. So this is another problem that's going to be fixed. Besides of it being actually turboed, there's not that much really. You just really have to focus on, you know, checking your oil levels, make sure there's no leaks, because one little leak could cause a big problem. You know, one other thing is you want to make sure you add a oil catch can. Oil catch can does a big job on mine. And that's pretty much it. You know, I don't have anything else to say on this turboed car that I put together, besides those problems. Only problem I have now is just fixing this gasket and probably adding a better cooling system. I did add a radiator, but that only could do so much. So you want to make sure you add yourself a couple more things. You want to make sure you add some fans, kind of add like a system where you could get air in, you know, and straight out, but hitting the engine, you know, because I don't have a skid plate on the bottom like everybody else, or what do they call it, the dust covers. That dust cover does do a lot of you know, a lot of cooling on your motor. So when air goes in through this little mouth, when the air goes in, it's supposed to kind of like go up, or, you know, kind of like get out smooth. But since I took that dust panel off, the air goes that way, and up. You know, you have it going 3 different directions. You kind of want to make your own panel to where it could just go one way straight to the motor and out. I did add a cooling system where it has to do with this huge D-Max hood vent. That actually helps out a lot. You see a big difference when you're cruising. So get yourself some hood vents and a cooling system, and you should be fine. Pretty much it for today's video. I hope you guys have a good one. See you guys on the next one, and make sure you hit that like, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and please comment. Peace.